On the docket tonight, the Ahmaud Arbery case. The prosecution has taken the death penalty off the table against the men accused of allegedly hunting down and murdering Arbery in their South Georgia neighborhood. We'll talk about that decision not to pursue the death penalty and have the latest on the proceedings in just a bit. But first, here's a look back at the video captured by one of the defendants, which prosecutors say will help in the end prove their case. In the first few seconds of the Ahmaud Arbery shooting video, it's clear that Roddy Bryan, the person recording, is also driving. 5 seconds in, we see Ahmaud for the first time. He appears to be running at a consistent pace. At 9 seconds, we get the first look at the truck stopped in the road. The driver's side door is open. The man standing outside is Travis McMichael. He is armed with a shotgun. Standing in the back of the truck is Travis's father, Greg. He's armed with a handgun. Two things to notice here as the camera starts to move erratically. Watch Ahmaud as he appears to realize what's in front of him. He decides to go around the truck on the right-hand side to avoid Travis. Now, watch it again and think about Roddy Bryan, who is shooting the video. He keeps driving towards the evolving situation and then listen. That sound raises the question, is Bryan cocking a handgun from inside the car? Bryan maintains he was unarmed. As we break down the next sequence frame by frame, we see Ahmaud on the passenger side of the McMichael's pickup. In the next frame, we can only see Greg McMichael, who appears to be holding a phone in his ear with his left hand. We know his right hand is holding a pistol. Now we see that Travis McMichael has moved from the driver's side to the front of the truck with his shotgun, presumably to confront Ahmaud. His right leg shows his knees are bent, his head is looking forward. In the next frame, we see Travis has now stepped back, and this is when we hear the first gunshot. The next frame clearly shows that Travis is being pushed back and Ahmaud has his hands on the rifle. Watch as Ahmaud releases his hands and hits Travis, first with his left hand, then with his right, as the struggle moves out of frame. Greg, meanwhile, now in the back of the pickup, puts his phone down and appears to ready his pistol. Then another shot. And we see smoke coming from the struggle. At 27 seconds into the video, Travis and Ahmaud can be seen again struggling over the rifle. Watch right here. Ahmaud pulls his right hand off to try to hit Travis. This gives way to the final shot. The final frame of the 36-second video shows father and son each holding a firearm standing in the street with Ahmaud Arbery laying on the ground, dying. Joining us to talk about this case and what lies ahead, former prosecutor, criminal defense attorney Michael Sterling. Michael, good evening to you. I want to get your take on the prosecution's decision not to pursue the death penalty in this case for any of the three defendants. Your take?
I'm not shocked. Ordinarily, prosecutors take into a great consideration what the victim wants, the primary victim in this case being obviously Mr. Arbery, but his mother as well. And she has been very vocal about wanting the defendants to be prosecuted to the highest extent of the law, and the fact that she would support the death penalty. But under Georgia law, there are certain requirements for seeking the death penalty, and it appears that the prosecutor didn't believe that she could pursue one of those reasons, that this was wanton, that this was outrageous or wantonly vile, horrible, and inhumane, or that the victim was tortured. So she would have had to find some sort of special circumstance in order to pursue the death penalty, and she would have had to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. As you know, Ted, death penalty cases are very, very hard. You've got to find death penalty eligible jurors. And maybe she just wanted to go with the case she thought she best had, which is, this felony murder case, without pursuing the death penalty.
Yeah, you bring up the jurors in a death penalty case. The jurors all have to be death qualified, and typically that means a more conservative individual, a more conservative jury, which typically prosecutors love. Maybe not in this case, though.
Yeah, this case is unique. You haven't heard the cause for the death penalty the way you heard for another jogger out of New York almost 30 years ago when we talk about the exonerated five. There was a real estate mogul in New York who took out a full-page ad calling for the death penalty for five young men who were later exonerated for the brutal beating of a jogger in New York. Here you have another situation, a jogger, seemingly jogging along his way, and he is essentially hunted down and killed. And then you have the other circumstantial evidence that the agent in charge, Richard Dial, testified to that there were racial slurs hurled at the time of his killing, not to mention that they found significant racial epithets and racial slurs in the defendant's phones and in messages that they had sent to other people. So there was certainly circumstantial evidence that this killing is racially motivated. And obviously this case has been a hot button topic for Georgia and around the country.
Yeah, another thing in this case, there's no change of venue from the defendants. They would rather be charged in rural Georgia, which of course is a different jury pool than Fulton County, Atlanta area.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, the one of the defendants is a former police officer in that county. Obviously, he's got connections and ties to that county. People know them. They know that county very well. They're very familiar with the jury pool, and they believe if they can get a jury pool that is favorable to them, they might actually have a chance, and that if they can get people on that jury who know of their service to the community or are willing to give him a break because he's a former police officer or they know his son, that they may be able to get a break in this case. And so they're happy staying right there in Glenn County.
All right, Michael Sterling, thanks for your insight tonight. This is one of the cases that's on the docket here at Court TV. We're watching it closely. At this point, no trial date has been determined yet, but we will keep monitoring every development.